I told Roger, I was teasing with Roger, I said, this is going to be an easy class today. Everybody knows the 23rd Psalms. We're done. Now, the 23rd Psalms is probably the most well-known Psalms. There are others that, if you look at them, you'll know songs that we sing in church. You'll recognize the songs, and it's the Psalms. This Psalm, the 23rd Psalm, is a Psalm of David, and it was written as a song. And how you sing this song, I would have no idea. Never heard it sung. But you heard Roger talk about metaphors last week, and Psalms 23 is full of them. So we're going to kind of start off, and I'm going to go verse by verse and pull out some metaphors out of that. So when I started looking at this, I said, there's something interesting here. If there was one word that we could put in front of it before we started, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So I've kind of just said to myself, every time I say this now, I'm going to do that. That puts it in my ballpark. And it kind of gives us that sense that it belongs to us. It's about us. Us and our longing for God. So we'll start. Because the Lord is my shepherd, I'm going to stop there. Shepherd. Bob Meeks talked about a shepherd. So what is a shepherd? What does a shepherd have that makes this unique? And Bob kind of talked about this. The shepherd with his sheep, he can go out to the field and yell, "Here, sheep." They know his name. So the sheep have a relationship with the shepherd, which is very important. Because as we'll see as we go on a little bit, the relationship between the sheep and the shepherd is an important relationship. I shall not want. To me, that means God is going to supply us with our needs. We won't want for anything. God's going to supply it. So that is a relationship with God, supplying needs, our needs for us. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Rest. Now, as a hunter, your prey normally is not in green pastures. Deer go out early in the morning and late at night, most of the time. And if you're driving down the highway and you're looking in the fields and you're driving in the morning, you'll see them out. But if you're driving in the afternoon, you don't see them. And if it gets later at night, almost dusk, you can look out in the field and see deer out there. That's because the hunters are moving inside. But with God, you can go lay down in the green pastures. Talks about the pastures, they need food. Rest and laying down in the green pastures. He leadeth me by still waters, quiet waters, in some versions. So what's the quiet waters? Why would we need to be by quiet waters? No rapids. It's a pool. Now, I've been whitewater rafting. I happened to be in a raft one time when the guide and 4 other people got thrown out into the rapids. Since I was sitting in the back, all of a sudden I become the person that was going to steer. First thing you know to do is you steer the raft into an eddy. And an eddy is quiet waters. You get your raft in that quiet waters because if you stay out in the mainstream, it's going to take you downriver. We lost people out of the raft. We want to get them back in the raft. We moved into quiet waters and we could pick them up, not in the rapids. So he puts us by quiet waters. Water for refreshment. We all need water. As I told my dad, I said, Dad, you're supposed to drink 60 ounces of water a day. I drink all kinds. No, you don't. I try to drink 140 ounces of water a day. Some days I make it, some days I don't, but I'm always over 100 ounces of water. It's good for the body. The quiet waters is the place you can go and get that. He restoreth my soul. David went through a lot. David went through a whole lot. And it's healing. When God restores our soul, he's given us that healing that we need. As you see all these things, the rest, the supply, the food, the rest, the refreshment, the guidance, all this stuff are things we need to navigate life. And as we read this, God is giving them to us. He guides me in the path of righteousness. So he's not going to put us out into a path that's going to lead to destruction. He's not going to put you in a path that is going to take you away from God. And if we're in a path where we're being taken away from God, we're on the wrong path. And as I'm going through this is stuff that I've read the 23rd Psalms hundreds of times and never thought about this in this way. So he leads me, guides me in the path of righteousness, which is our guidance for his name's sake. The purpose of him doing this, purpose. All these first things we got, all these first things, there's a purpose. It's all for his name's sake. The food, the water, the rest, all because God needs us for a purpose. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Now, all of us know that the world is a terrible place. All we got to do is watch the news. I don't even hardly watch news at all anymore. Just because you don't know who's telling the truth and who's lying. But the shadow of the valley of death, we know about. Have you ever been somewhere, the second you got to, you say, I shouldn't be here. I've been in a place a couple of times like that. I need not to be here. And I was with a couple of friends and said, we don't need to be here. We need to leave as soon as possible and as quietly as possible. Because you know and you can feel the danger. He's there when we are going through this testing, this shadow of death. I will fear no evil. When God is with us, we don't have any fears. There's a verse, and I should have looked it up, don't know it, Fear not, for I am with you always, even unto the end of the earth. Don't fear. I'm there. I'm right there with you. Fear is a terrible thing because it freezes us in place. You know, you can be scared and move on, but fear is one of these things that just absolutely grips you. And here we're being told, don't fear. For I am with you. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. God's rod and staff comfort me. They give me a sense of discipline. The shepherd has a staff, right? It's got a little knot on the top of it. And the sheep on top of the head, they know to get back in line. I've read stories of old time church that the deacons would have this long staff and had a little knocker on it. And if a guy fell asleep, he'd just reach in there on top of the head, keep him awake. Discipline. Stay alert. Protection. That's not David, who was a shepherd, fought a lion and a bear to save his sheep. Now, that's what we know of, and we don't know how, but we know of them too. And I've seen bear. I don't think I want to fight a bear. Definitely, I don't want to fight a lion either. You prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemy. Have you ever ate with the enemy? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Have you ever heard that? I'm going to provide you with a meal in front of your enemy. That shows us hope. There ain't no way. If God is on our side, that's the hope. He's prepared this for us. Ain't no way it's getting taken away. No way at all. You anoint my head with oil. It's a crate. He anoints us. You'll see in later when if I get to verse 18, which I don't think I will, but anyway, we'll kind of go over a little bit right now. A horn of oil was taken to, no, I lost it. In Samuel, they take a horn of oil and they anoint David king, successor to Saul. He's anointing us with oil. You are a child of God, and nobody can touch you. That's my cup overflows, my cup runneth over. An abundance. You know, remember when you were a kid, you were pouring, or first learned how to pour milk or something? You'd always overflow it, make a mess, get yelled at. But how about a jar that never ends? And I forget the name of the lady in the Bible where she had a jar of oil that never ran out. Never ran out. We have an abundance. Surely goodness and love will follow me for all the days of my life. That's a blessing. That's God's blessing to us. I'm going to be there forever. I'm going to be with you every minute of every day forever. And that's not just here on earth. When we get to heaven, we'll be with him in heaven. If he blessed us because he loves us, and he loves us so much, he sent his son to die for us. How much more can somebody love somebody than give up their son? Blessings forever. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Security. In eternity. We would dwell in the house of the Lord forever. How much more secure could you be? We know that the safest place to be is with God. I was just reading this, and I'm going, David, I'm going to kind of cover this other thing here just a little bit. David has a prayer in the 18 that we're supposed to read, but we're not going to make it. He's looking to God because he is being attacked on all sides. He is being when you're anointed king before the other king's gone. When you're appointed the successor of a king that ain't gone, bad things can happen. And David had a lot of things chasing him around. I mean, he was a warrior. And so some of these things, that metaphors that are in here, I'm just going to read a little part from the book here. It says, David was a soldier who knew the terror of battle. He knew the danger and what it was like to live on the edge and barely escape with his life. He knew this. He was a warrior. Now, when David was a kid, we're going to say he's 16 years old. There is no 16-year-old that I know that don't think they're the toughest thing on the planet. You can't hurt me. I can do anything. I can do it. I mean, David was brazen enough to walk out in a battlefield and say, is that the dude that's bothering you all? I'll fight him. What did David know 100% when he said that? There was 100% he knew what he was saying. He knew who was on his side. And basically what he told all the adults there, why are you all letting these people talk about our God like they're talking about him? I'm getting ready to use him, and we're going to defeat this guy. And David goes out and defeats Goliath. One of the amazing stories to me in the Bible. And there are a lot of them. He uses in a couple of the verses in Psalms 18, 1-6, my strength, a rock, a fortress, a stronghold, a deliverer, a shield, and the horn of salvation. Now, from what I read and understood was a horn, like if it's on a rhinoceros, the horn of a rhinoceros is strength. But when they cut that horn off and hollow it out, they put oil in it, it becomes God's strength in the Bible times. So if you were pouring oil from a horn, people knew that God was on your side. Kind of what I read, the little bit I read in here. Both these chapters, David was coming from a place of weakness to find strength. He was looking for strength. To me, when he was fighting Goliath, he was not the toughest man on the battlefield. Matter of fact, he couldn't even put the armor on that was given to him. He couldn't even pick up the one sword. But the strength he had was strength given to him by God. What I take from all these, all the verses, all the stuff, God is my strength, my rock, my fortress, my stronghold, my deliverer, my shield. If we believe that 100% and live that on a daily basis, God will be exactly that. Our deliverer, our shield. And sometimes we don't even know we're being shielded. Have you ever had something happen and say, well, what just happened? How did that happen? Why did that happen? Or how am I not hurt more? Or how am I still here? When you're young, I can think of one time in particular, after it was said and done, I literally was shaking, wondering how I was able to get out of the situation. I know now, since I'm older, how I got out of that situation. When I was young, it was dumb luck. Basically, that's what I thought. It was dumb luck. I even survived. No, that's not it. Even back then, God had a purpose for me. Hey, there's something I need you to do later, so there ain't no sense in me letting you die now. God loves us beyond measure, enough to give us all these things in 23rd Psalms. And his love is continual. As we leave today, I would ask that you all vote, please pray for Larry Sawyer and for Scott Heilman and his family, because right now they do need God's love. It's difficult when you lose a mother and a father, and just continue to pray for them. I thank you all for your time, and I am done. Thank you.